Hey everyone, what is going on? Elvis here, and today I wanted to ask you guys, what would it take for you to get back into Diablo 3 if you've left the game? Now, I'm playing live right now on my brand new monk in hardcore, and I've just hit Act 5 in the campaign. I've just been having some fun on it. It's an important question to be asking right now, mainly because of how close Blizzcon is, you know? It's just around the corner, and I think that it's worth saying, you know, what do I want out of this Blizzcon to get me back into it? And yeah, like I said, I've been asking myself the same question lately, so I thought I would get into some of the ideas and just some of the boundaries that the game has for myself getting back into it, even as just as casual as I am right now. One of those boundaries is definitely, it does feel for like veterans a little bit slow to get back into in the terms of, you know, like I don't really want a campaign right now. It's kind of fun to just cruise through the quests again. But that wears off really quickly. So that's one boundary for myself. And I think the next boundary is probably the end game. You know, it's a very slow introduction into the game. And then it gets really awesome, like amazingly fun for like 2 weeks. And then it gets a little bit rough. But anyway, regarding some of the things that I would like to see. So obviously, I would love an expansion announcement at this BlizzCon. That would be fantastic. But I really think that out of the expansion, you know, there's some things that I would like to obviously have. You know, a full act would be really cool, and a new class. But I always feel like, regarding the game right now, I think 2 new classes. And I don't know if I sound really selfish to be like, no, I want 2 new classes. But I really think that that's something that has to be in this expansion to really fire up the game again. And let me talk about why this is maybe a potential, although as far stretched as it does sound. When this expansion came out, Reaper of Souls, it was totally different because prior to that, you know, under Jay Wilson as the game director, who, you know, and his whole team that worked on the game, they basically had to redesign the game from the ground up. There was so much that changed. And when, you know, Reaper of Souls come out, I think if that energy wasn't placed into having to redesign the game again, which, like, trust me, it was definitely worth making the changes that they have. Diablo has gotten better over time, in my opinion. So it's definitely worth those changes. But let's say, hypothetically, the game came out on how it is right now. Then imagine that extra resource that they could have put into the expansion. A second character would have been totally worth it. Although I do really feel like with this particular act, they did a pretty good job. You know, we don't always play it when we're questing and campaigning and that kind of stuff, but as far as like a story goes, like that, on that level of things, really awesome to play through in the first time. So yeah, I think a second, 2 brand new characters, a brand new act, and obviously, you know, the stuff that we can kind of expect will be like a level cap. You know, it'll be 80 will be the max level, and that means item levels will go up as well, which will be a massive difference. Now, we also got to think about, are they going to add in a new artisan into the game? What will that look like? How will that manifest out? Now, what I have noticed is that the game's picked more and more Diablo 2 features and turned itself into Diablo 2 as much as it can since the original launch of the game, which I think was definitely probably on the agenda of the game director, Josh Mosquera, and also maybe the team as well, but they haven't, you know, backtracked just to, you know, bring back what Diablo 2 what Diablo 2 turned out to be, and that's just, you know, such an iconic game. But yeah, what's the next artisan going to look like? So I heard some rumors going around on a couple of networks, and take it for what it is. I assume bullshit, a very clever, put together of bullshit, but some of the topics were actually kind of worth talking about. Now, the reason why I think it's all bullshit is because all of it is very easily guessed features. One of those features that is rumored to come out and announced at this BlizzCon is rune words. Although apparently from the leak, the rune words are going to look a little bit different to what we know them as in Diablo 2. So who knows what that could manifest into. Now, if this is the case and they do bring in a feature like rune words, I would love to see how this actually turns out, because one of the things that I really struggle with when it comes to D3 is the lack of in-depth customization to myself. It's very simplified, and, you know, they do things, by they, I mean the developers, they're constantly, you know, trying to add in content, and they do a pretty good job on it, but regarding, say, items, for example, with each season, they'll add a new set of items and completely change the meta. But what I find that what it does is it actually just replaces one way of playing with another way of playing. It doesn't really add depth, if you know what I mean. All of a sudden, just because they've added in these new items, you would assume there's a second way to play that character. And, they might even argue, a lot of people might even argue and say there's multiple plays of weighing a character. And to some extent, you're right. Like, I could be playing a support monk. I could be playing, all DPS. There are small tweaks in that. But when it really comes down to it, everything, what am I doing here in this quest? Everything really is just a replacement. One gets shifted out of the way for another thing. And I've really admired other action RPGs that have successfully pulled this off. And it makes you think, geez, imagine that. Imagine if D3 had that layer of depth into it. It would be awesome. So anyway, we're heading up to the cemetery. So yeah, what do you guys want to see? I'm curious to know if you've played Diablo and you've quit it. You don't play it anymore. Maybe it was in the first month of the game. Maybe it was back when all the way till when I stopped playing in hardcore AUS. Maybe you were part of the clan and you're still hanging around on the channel. Let me know what you would expect from this BlizzCon for you to get back into it. Yeah, there's a lot of different things that could go on, but yeah. Anyway, guys, I just wanted to touch base with you all. I love making these little kind of intimate sessions, especially on a game like Diablo 3 that, definitely doesn't get enough time on my channel, and that's something I do want to change in the future, and I really hope that, yeah, this BlizzCon's going to be awesome. Oh, one more thing before I go. If you notice the BlizzCon schedule, if you haven't seen it already, it's a very small window of time. I believe it's 2 hours, one panel in the whole 2 days. Don't get that confused with a lack. Don't get that confused with a lack of new features or a lack of new information. That's just simply a time window. That's all they need to announce the good stuff. But yeah. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed the discussion. Let me know in the comments below about the thoughts. See you next time.